right, old school NBA fans, self-research, NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. Want to give a special thanks to Ryan Cherry. Thank you very much for the super thanks. I really appreciate it. In this video here, one I did a while back, but a little different format. And that is, why do we only talk about longevity for one player in the NBA? That's it. We never talked about Kareem being the GOAT before Michael Jordan, even before LeBron James came along. It was never Kareem. Even Nick Wright flip-flopped to fit the narrative. He said back in 2016 that Michael Jordan's the greatest right now. And then all of a sudden, somehow, years later, Kareem passed up Jordan. Wonder how he did that. This is the only situation where longevity is at the forefront of a GOAT argument of a sport. I've never seen anything like it. And I got all kinds of receipts here. You tell me what's going on. So we understand what I'm talking about. Here you go.
Because when it's all said and done, Skip, he's going to have more points than Kareem. He's going to have more assists.
Now he's better than Kareem?
He will have more points than Kareem. He'll have more assists than Magic Johnson.
Just not all about rings. You look at LeBron, a 13-time first-team All-NBA player, a 17-time All-NBA player, about to be a 20-time All-Star game starts. I think when you bring all of it in its totality, that's why I have LeBron.
I will ask you this question. Do you have LeBron over Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Not until he passes him in the scoring title, but as an all-around player, yes. And by the time that LeBron James is finished, see, we're measuring LeBron James now, and he's still in his basketball playing career. But we can safely say that by the time he's done playing, he may have passed Kareem. When he passes Kareem in scoring, you have to anoint him as the GOAT.
While playing more minutes and what ultimately will be more games than anyone ever.
LeBron will finish the season with 8,000 more points than Jordan. The longevity argument, not even close.
Now you heard all those guys. That's a whole lot of longevity talk. A lot of accumulative stats, total stats, played for this long, scored this many points, this many assists, all this stuff. Suddenly that's what it's all about. Okay, never was before in any other sport. Did you guys know that Alex Ovechkin just overtook Wayne Gretzky as the all-time goal scorer in NHL history? Most people didn't even bat an eye. Did he now pass Wayne Gretzky as the greatest NHL player of all time? No reasonable person would think so. Let's do a little head-to-head comparison here. Both players, Ovechkin and Wayne Gretzky, have played 20 seasons. Alex Ovechkin, 897 goals. That's great. Wayne Gretzky, 894. But when you look at total points, which is what assists and goals put together, 2857 for Gretzky, only 1623 for Ovechkin. But even that is not the whole reason why people prefer Gretzky over Ovechkin. And a large, vast majority of people do. Alex Ovechkin won 3 Hart trophies, the MVP essentially. Wayne Gretzky won 9. And Stanley Cups, Ovechkin just has the 1. Wayne Gretzky's got 4. It's the totality. All the times that Gretzky led in points, assists, goals, all of it put together makes Wayne Gretzky the greatest hockey player of all time. And I believe that Michael Jordan has a greater claim to the NBA GOAT than Wayne Gretzky does in the NHL. And I'll tell you why. Wayne Gretzky, a great player, the greatest. I would say he is the greatest. But look at who he had on his team. He had Glenn Anderson. He played 8 seasons with Wayne Gretzky. Is he a Hall of Famer? Yes, he is. He didn't make the top 100 all-time players. 6 Stanley Cups. Now, obviously, Gretzky's going to be in there for, 4 of them, I believe. Paul Coffey played 7 years with Gretzky. Hall of Famer, top 100 all-time player. Yep. 4 Stanley Cups and an 8-time All-Star. How about Yari Curry? This dude's like 20th all-time in goals. 9 seasons with Gretzky. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a top 100 player. He won 5 Stanley Cups and 5 All-Stars. Grant Fuhrer, the goalkeeper. He's got 7 seasons with Gretzky, a Hall of Famer, top 100 all-time player, 4 Stanley Cups, all with Gretzky, 2-time All-Star. Kevin Lowe, 9 seasons with Gretzky, Hall of Famer, 6 Stanley Cup victories. Mark Messier, one of the top 10 players of all time. This is sort of like a Kareem and Magic situation, not quite as extreme, but I would say maybe more like a Kobe and Shaq situation. Mark Messier played 9 years with Wayne Gretzky. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's a top 100 player. He won 6 Stanley Cups, 4 with Gretzky, 2 away from Gretzky, 5-time All-Star, 2 Hart trophies himself, which is the MVP, which is only 1 less than Ovechkin. Well, Mark Messier and Grant Fuhrer and Yari Curry and Glenn Anderson, in 1990, the Edmonton Oilers won the Stanley Cup. All right? Well, Wayne Gretzky left Edmonton after the 1988 season. They win it 2 years after without Gretzky. That's how loaded his team is. And still, people say Gretzky is the greatest of all time, even with this incredible team that he had on Edmonton in the 80s. Now, if the 1994 or 95 Bulls, without Jordan, would have won an NBA title, I think people would have went nuts, especially the LeBron camp, the Nick Wrights and Shannon Sharps. Or what happened when Jordan retired? They won without him. Exactly. But somehow that didn't happen to Wayne Gretzky. Why does it happen to Michael Jordan? It couldn't be because people are manufacturing a narrative for a certain player, would it? Moving along, Major League Baseball, the GOAT, right? Why isn't Pete Rose ever talked about in the GOAT conversation? He's not. Why not? All this stuff Nick Wright talks about, oh, the most games played, minutes played, number 1 in points, top 5 assists, he's going to be top 15 in rebounds, all this stuff. Okay, why not Pete Rose then? Why does it not work in other sports? Why not? Pete Rose is the all-time leader in games played, 3,562. The most plate appearances, 15,890. The most at-bats, 14,053. And the most hits, 4,256. That's the all-time leader. For a position player, he should at least be the GOAT position player, right? What's more important than hits? Hitting the ball. Isn't that what you're supposed to do as a hitter? Why isn't he considered the GOAT? And that's not all Pete Rose has. Pete Rose was number 1 in the majors in hits 7 times. He won Rookie of the Year. He won 2 Gold Gloves, 3 batting titles, 3 World Series titles. He's got a World Series MVP, and he's a 17-time All-Star. Nothing? Okay. Doesn't really make sense to me, but okay, Pete Rose not the GOAT? Sure. We'll just put him aside. How about Hank Aaron then? Hank Aaron. Why is he not the GOAT? He's got all the longevity stuff. Nope. Nobody's ever called Hank Aaron the GOAT. Now, why is that? Hank Aaron, his all-time ranks, RBIs, he's number 1. Knocking runs in, number 1, 2,297. That's incredible. He's number 2 in home runs with 755, second only to the steroid boy, Barry Bonds, which there's a big correlation between Barry Bonds and LeBron James, but we won't get into this on this video. How about total bases? Number 1, 6,856. How about hits? He's third, 3,771. Third only to Ty Cobb and Pete Rose. Unbelievable. He's 14th in doubles, 624. Fourth in runs scored, 2,174. He's got no GOAT case, okay? Hank Aaron won 3 Gold Gloves, 1 MVP, 1 World Series championship, He won 4 home run crowns, 4 RBI crowns, 2 hit crowns, and 3 run crowns. Still not the GOAT, huh? Well, according to these reputable sources, here's who they have as the greatest baseball players of all time. Baseball Almanac, who you'd think they'd have a lot of credibility. They got Babe Ruth, number 1. They got Lou Gehrig, number 2. Ted Williams, number 3. Hank Aaron, number 4. That's not the GOAT, though, is it? How about Britannica? They got a big baseball section. They got number 1, Babe Ruth. Number 2, Willie Mays. Number 3, Barry Bonds. Incredible that they're overlooking the steroid allegations, but whatever. Number 4, Ted Williams. Number 5, Hank Aaron. Not the GOAT, now is he? Top 5, fine. Not the GOAT, though. Why not? His case is strong as can be. Hank Aaron's GOAT case for the best Major League Baseball player of all time is stronger than LeBron James's NBA GOAT case. Now, you got to also remember there's a lot more players on a team and a lot more that take the field. There's 9 players on the field, so almost double. If you put the designated hitter in there, there's 10 players, so double the amount of players. Then you got pitchers coming in. You got all kinds of, it's just a bigger team. So you're not going to get as many individual awards. It's going to be hard to do. But even still, Hank Aaron has a bunch of individual awards, but it's the accumulative stuff, the longevity stats that are unbelievable for Hank Aaron. He has no case whatsoever, though, for the greatest baseball player of all time. ESPN, Babe Ruth, number 1. Willie Mays, number 2. Hank Aaron, number 3. He's third here, so he's third, fourth, and fifth at these 3 very reputable sources. But not the GOAT. Clearly, Babe Ruth is. All 3 named him the GOAT. I think Willie Mays is right there too, but neither here nor there. Here's another one here. I've heard Chris Broussard touch on it before, but he doesn't elaborate. Why isn't Emmitt Smith, hands down, considered the greatest running back of all time? Why not? Wait till you hear his resume. It sounds GOAT-like to me. Why isn't he, though? There's 3 players that people will say is the greatest running back of all time. Anybody worth their salt will say one of these 3 names. Barry Sanders, Jim Brown, or Walter Payton. It's going to be one of those 3. Emmitt Smith is the all-time leader in attempts, 4,409, touches, 4,924, rushing yards, 18,355, rushing touchdowns, 164. In the playoffs, he's also the leader in rushing yards, 1,586, rushing touchdowns, 19. Emmitt Smith has 3 Super Bowl wins, a Super Bowl MVP, the rushing leader 4 times, an 8-time Pro Bowler, 5 times All-Pro. What more do you want to see? Why isn't Emmitt Smith considered the greatest running back of all time? I'll tell you why. Because people who actually saw Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, even Jim Brown, the people still around that were old enough to see Jim Brown, will tell you Emmitt Smith had an insane team around him. It made it much easier for him to accumulate those yards. He broke Walter Payton's record, which really Walter Payton, even longevity-wise, was more impressive than Emmitt Smith, and I'll get into that. Emmitt Smith, just on offense, had Michael Irvin, Hall of Fame, Darryl Johnston, fullback, Hall of Fame, Troy Aikman at quarterback, Hall of Fame, Larry Allen, Hall of Fame, Eric Williams, Hall of Fame. Then you had other guys like Nate Newton, Jay Novacek, perennial Pro Bowl type players. One year, he had Deion Sanders as the other receiver in the last Super Bowl they won. So we had Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders, Troy Aikman, Darryl Johnston, Jay Novacek as the skill position players on his team. Are you kidding me? It's a joke. I'll tell you why he's not the GOAT. Well, Barry Sanders was definitely incredible. He was the best runner of the ball that I've ever seen. But all around, taking everything into consideration, It's Walter Payton. And yeah, I'm from Illinois. I'm going to have a little bias, but it does not mean that it's off base. Walter Payton, he's my GOAT. Why? Because he's got the longevity. Also, that's one aspect of it, much like Jerry Rice. Walter Payton's first 10 seasons, there was not a single Pro Bowler on offense on Walter Payton's team for his first 10 years. 10. Yeah, it was like that. While Emmitt Smith had all this stuff, the best line, Hall of Fame quarterback, fullback, receivers, please, tight end, all that stuff. Payton didn't have any of that. And still, Payton put up similar numbers than Emmitt Smith did. That's why Walter Payton was the GOAT. He won the MVP in 1977, one of the best years ever by a running back, maybe the best. He also had a runner-up to the MVP and a third for MVP. However, for the longevity stuff, in 1984, at the age of 31, Walter Payton rushed for 1,684 yards. Look up any 31-year-old. Let's see what they're doing compared to that. At 32 in 1985, Walter Payton rushed for 1,551 yards. At 33 in 1986, 1,333 rushing yards. He had 2,000 plus yards from scrimmage at age 30 to 32. Now, I believe Walter Payton is the greatest running back of all time because of the receiving, because of the blocking. He even threw for 8 touchdowns. He was the most complete running back, maybe the most complete football player of all time. But I don't understand why we only do this for the NBA to fit LeBron James. I've never seen anything like it. No other sport goes by longevity. They go by peak and totality, the two together. Longevity is part of totality. It's never been the central aspect of being the greatest player or just ranking players. It's never been that. If so, if we're just going to say that, then Eli Manning is better than Joe Montana. So is Joe Flacco. They got more yards. It's ridiculous. You can get crazy with this stuff really fast. It's not about how many you have at the end of the day. Frank Gore. Is Frank Gore better than Bo Jackson? Is he better than Gale Sayers? How about Eric Dickerson? Yeah, I didn't think so. That's how dumb this stuff can get really quick. Why these people make such a big deal about LeBron James and this longevity business, it's just unreal to me. He passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's great. That's just accumulating stats. But they never take into account how LeBron James cheated the system. John Stockton talked about this. He took a helicopter to the top of the mountain, is the way he worded it. He got all these great players to play with him. It's definitely not the same as going through the grind of dealing with whatever you're drafted. That's who you got. Maybe you get lucky and somebody makes a trade. You get a decent player, whatever. But then the standard has to be raised. When you have the best roster in the NBA, as the Miami Heat did from 2011 to 2014, and I don't want to hear about, Dwayne Wade's knee. He was still putting up numbers enough to make the All-Star team, okay? Well, they had Ray Allen coming off the bench with Chris Bosh, with Dwayne Wade, with Shane Battier, all these other good peripheral players. Easily the best roster in the NBA. You won 2 out of 4 championships. Yeah, that's a semi-failure. It just is, if not a total failure. When he was on Cleveland, 2015, 2016, that was the best roster. I don't care what the records were. I don't care what anybody says. Those were the best roster. Cleveland Cavaliers had the best roster in the NBA, 2015 and 2016. Yeah, it was changed in 2017, but I think only slightly. I don't think Golden State was much better than Cleveland. I don't think that at all. I think that Cleveland's top 4 players was comparable to Golden State's top 4 players. And they won 1 championship out of that whole time. And then when LeBron James wins the next one, in that bubble 4 months later, he gets Anthony Davis, a top 5 player in the NBA in 2020. No doubt about it. And that bubble, that Disney bubble, allowed Anthony Davis to have time to rest, to heal. Same with LeBron James. It was a huge advantage. But even still, why would LeBron James be the greatest player of all time when he's only won 4 championships in 22 years? How is that even possible with the plethora of great players that he's had on his team? Just doesn't make any sense. It's impossible. It really is. This guy was favored to win the championship in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, every one of those years, 2021, favored to win the championship. He delivered on 4. That's what he got. That's it. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you wouldn't mind sharing the video, that would be great. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I give daily content. And that's it. Until next time.